Hi kabayan! Welcome po ulit sa ating channel, ang Buhay at Payo ng OFW. Welcome sa ating Part 2 ng Canada Visitor Visa Application. Kung napanood niyo ang Part 1, doon natin pinag-usapan ang mga forms na kailangan namin i-complete at i-submit. At gusto ko lamang pong i-add, sa makikita niyo po sa screen, ito po yung shared drive namin na binahagi or shinare namin sa aming immigration lawyer or consultant. At makikita niyo po dito yung in-upload namin at binigay namin sa aming immigration lawyer. Na-discuss po natin ito sa part 1 at nabanggit ko nga po na bawat isa sa applicant ay kailangang mag-accomplish ng mga forms. So nakikita nyo dito, nag-accomplish ng IMM 5257_1E, IMM 5257E, IMM 5645E, at IMM 5707E. Yung IMM 5713E, ako po yung nag-share nun at nasa ibang folder. So dito, pinapakita ko lamang po kung gaano karami yung forms na kakailanganin sa bawat isang applicant. So kung mas maraming applicant or mas marami kayong in-invite to visit you in Canada, mas marami kayong kailangang isubmit. At mapapansin nyo, ito yung addendum or ito yung additional document kapag masyadong madaming brothers and sisters dun sa inyong pinaka-form, kailangan nyo mag-add ng extra form. So, ganito yung file name. Yung mga naka-cover na part, yun po yung pangalan ng applicant. So, tinakpan lang po natin siya for security purposes. For this video, pag-uusapan natin yung supporting documents na sinamit namin, fees, proof of funds, at ilang tips na ginawa namin at ang actual timeline ng application namin. Disclaimer lang po mga kabayan, nag-share lang po tayo ng ating personal experience. Hindi po ito legal or immigration advice at iba-iba po ang circumstances ng bawat applicant. Unahin natin ang application fees. For our application, ang government fee was 185 Canadian dollars per person, including the $100 visitor visa processing fee and the $85 biometrics fee for applicants who were required to give biometrics. And ito po yung official IRCC website. Nakalagay po dito yung fee list. And kung gusto nyo pong i-verify, sakaling nagkaroon ng update, makikita nyo dito yung visitor visa under ng temporary residence. I-click nyo yung visitor visa at makikita nyo dito yung visitor visa per person is 100 Canadian dollars. And sa situation namin, ni-request kami ng biometrics for visitor visa. Kaya bayad na kami agad ng additional $85. So makikita nyo siya dito sa baba under Other Applications and Services. I-click nyo lang yung biometrics at makikita nyo dito yung cost depende sa situation nyo. Sa amin, ang binayad namin is per individual, which is 85 Canadian dollar. So ang pupunta dito is my parents and my sister. So tatlo sila, 185 times 3. Ang total na binayaran namin sa government fee is 555 Canadian dollars. Meron din po kaming additional professional fee dahil nagpatulong po kami sa immigration lawyer. Hindi ko na po i-share kung magkano yun because professional fees po can vary depending on the consultant or lawyer and also the services included and the complexity of the application. Ayaw din po natin magkaroon ng comparison dahil iba-iba talaga yung rates. If you are comfortable doing it yourself, pwede naman po kayong mag-DIY para hindi na po kayo magbayad ng professional fee for immigration lawyer or immigration consultant. Pero kung gusto nyong magpatulong, sana po ay makahanap kayo ng qualified immigration professional na reasonable yung professional fee at malinaw kung ano yung included sa service nila. Next naman, pag-uusapan natin yung proof of funds or mas kilala natin sa tawag na show money sa Pilipinas. Sa case namin, hindi lang isang account ang pinakita namin. We provided different financial documents to show that there were sufficient funds available for the trip. As sponsors, ako at ang asawa ko, meron kaming approximately 20,000 Canadian dollars sa joint account. Then, sa personal savings account ko, meron akong 5,000 Canadian dollars. At pinag-open ko rin yung parents ko ng kanilang joint account and we provided approximately 10,000 Canadian dollars as additional funds. And my sister, who was one of the visitors too, had personal savings of around 7,500. Importanteng isipin po natin na hindi ibig sabihin na kailangan ninyo ng ganitong exact amount para ma-approve ang visitor visa niyo. In-advise lamang po sa amin ng aming immigration lawyer na at least 25,000 Canadian dollars ang maipakita naming proof of funds para sa kanilang tatlo. And Sinobrahan po namin para wala ng doubt na baka hindi ma-approve, para mas kampante yung kalooban namin na malaki yung chance na ma-approve yung visa nila. And also, nag-research po kami and we didn't find any published from IRCC na meron silang fixed na minimum bank balance. Wala po. Kahit i-google nyo po siya or i-check nyo sa AI, wala kayong makikita na fixed minimum bank balance or minimum amount for a regular visitor visa. According to the official IRCC information na makikita nyo po dito sa ating screen, ito po. The amount of money you need depends on factors such as how long you plan to stay in Canada and whether you will stay in a hotel or with friends or relatives. Ilalagay ko po yung official IRCC link sa description para kayo mismo ang makapag-check ng latest information. Ngayon po, pag-usapan naman natin yung mga supporting documents na sinubmit namin. At gusto ko pong i-share ang part na ito dahil baka po maraming magtanong kung anong documents yung pwedeng isubmit for a Canada Visitor Visa application. Again, these are the documents that were relevant to our own situation. Hindi po ibig sabihin na lahat ng ito ay required for every applicant. Ito pong pinapakita namin dito sa screen ay ito yung mga documents na sinubmit ng aking relatives, ng aking parents at ng sister ko as the visitors dito sa Canada. And ito po makikita niyo yung mga documents that could support financial situation, employment, family ties, and ties to the Philippines. Makikita niyo dito yung bank certificates, bank statement, birth certificate, certificate of approved leave of absence kung sakaling meron po kayong trabaho, at importante po na galing siya officially sa inyong employer. Certificate of employment or yung COE, driver's license kung meron kayong driver's license, ITR or income tax return, land titles kung meron kayong land titles na pwedeng ipakita, marriage certificate, and inyong national ID. And ipapakita pa natin yung iba pang supporting documents na sinubmit ng aking parents at ng sister ko. To continue, ito pa po yung mga additional supporting documents na sinubmit ng aking parents at ng sister ko. Aside from national ID, kailangan din i-scan yung passport nyo. And yan po yung front page kung saan nyo makikita yung pangalan nyo at may photo. Yun po yung kailangan yung i-scan. And then payslips, photo. Ang photo po is yung required ng Canada government for photo. Ipapakita po natin kung saan nyo makikita yung requirements. But most of the time, sa photographer booth or sa shop, kung saan kayo nagpapapicture, pag sinabi nyo for Canada visa, alam na nila kagad yung requirement. Pero just in case, gusto nyong i-double check, ipapakita natin siya separately. And then, proof of travel. Ang proof of travel is yung mga travel nyo outside Philippines or abroad. At kailangan nyo lang i-scan yung passport nyo kung saan merong stamps kung saan kayo nag-travel. Diba? Every entry and exit natin sa ibang bansa, most of the time may stamp. Pero kung walang stamp yung country like na experience namin sa Singapore, hindi sila nag-stamp, ipakita nyo yung e-visa nyo or yung paper or yung email na nagpapatunay na meron kayong visa for traveling sa Singapore or sa ibang country na walang physical stamp sa passport. And then next, yung purpose of visit schedule, temporary visit to Canada. Ito po yung itinerary. Ginawan ko po sila ng kanilang itinerary for staying here in Canada in 10 days. So from the time na lumapag sila sa Montreal Airport hanggang sa flight nila pabalik. So kailangan kompleto yung schedule nila. And then itong sworn statement, notarized, ito po ay pinagawa sa amin ng aming immigration lawyer at nakasaad po dito kung saan nakukuha ng aming parents yung income nila for their cost of living sa Philippines. Since ang parents ko po ang father ko is driver, so self-employed siya at inconsistent yung income. At ang mother ko naman po ay plain housewife. So meron sworn statement na katunayan na nagbibigay kami ng allowance ng kapatid ko sa aming parents. So kailangan siya, if ever, ganun din yung situation nyo. And then vacation leave approval letter and voter's ID. So mahigpit yung kailangan yung i-provide na approve yung vacation nyo if ever may work kayo sa Philippines. Ito po yung photo requirements for Canadian visitor visa. And magtataka kayo nakalagay temporary resident visa. So, applicable din po ito sa visitor visa. Kung hindi alam ng photographer nyo yung specification, pwede nyo pong ipakita sa kanila ito para masundan nila yung specification for photo. Reminder lang mga kabayan na hindi basta paramihan ng ma-upload na documents ang gagawin natin. Ang kailangan nating documents ay dapat relevant at makakatulong sa pagpapakita ng ating personal circumstances at reason na babalik tayo sa Philippines after the temporary visit to Canada. For example, employment documents can help show an applicant's work situation, while property and financial documents may help provide additional information about their circumstances and commitments in the Philippines. Dito naman mga kabayan, makikita nyo sa screen yung mga documents na sinubmit namin as sponsor, ako at ang aking asawa. Nag-provide din kami ng several documents para ma-support yung application ng aking family and ma-explain yung relationship with them and how the trip will be funded. Dito, ipinakita ko yung aking studies ng French since right now, unemployed ako. So, kailangan kong ma-prove since unemployed ako, ano yung pinagkakaabalahan ko dito sa Canada. So, first and foremost, I'm married to a Canadian and aside from that, nag-aaral ako ng French. So, kaya pinakita natin dito yung form kung saan ako nakaregister for French class and this is specific to my situation. So, nagpasa din kami ng bank certificate, bank statements, ang personal bank statement ko at ang joint account statement ko, pati bank statement ng asawa ko separately. Provide namin pareho yung aming birth certificate and then yung municipal tax ng aking asawa sa pagbabayad sa bahay, both 2025 and 2026, and an additional tax confirmation and driver's license niya. At ito po yung sinasabi kong form for visitor, yung IMM 5713E, at na-discuss po natin yan sa part 1. By the way, ilalagay din po natin sa description below yung link para sa part 1 video para hindi po kayo mahirapang maghanap nung part 1. And then, yung mismong immigration lawyer namin ay gumawa ng invitation letter na customized sa aming situation. At dahil marami na siyang karanasan sa paggawa ng invitation letter, mas maganda yung pagkakagawa, madaling maintindihan ng Canada Immigration Officer. And then, ito nga po yung sa joint account at ang aming marriage certificate. So, ayan po lahat nung ipinasa namin na documents from us as a sponsor. I-add ko lamang mga kabayan na yung invitation letter kung sakaling magdi-DIY kayo. Importanteng ma-accomplish niya siya ng tama. At ang ginawa ng aming immigration lawyer sa invitation letter ay in-explain niya yung kung sino yung in-invite namin, ano yung relationship namin sa visitor, ano yung purpose ng visit, at ano yung details ng planned vacation nila dito or planned stay nila sa Canada. At kagaya ng pinakita natin, nag-provide tayo ng ating mga financial documents to support the information we declared regarding the funds available for the trip. Again, mga kabayan, gusto ko lang pong i-emphasize na hindi ibig sabihin na kailangan ninyong isubmit exactly the same documents na sinubmit namin. Iba-iba po kasi ang situation ng bawat applicant. Merong employed, may self-employed, merong may sariling property, may retirees, at iba-iba rin ang family at financial circumstances ng bawat isa. So, instead of simply copying yung document list ng isang applicant, mas importante na maintindihan ninyo kung bakit ninyo isasubmit yung bawat document at kung relevant ba talaga ito sa sarili nyong application. For us, ang goal namin was to provide documents that would support a clear and consistent story. Bakit sila pupunta sa Canada? Sino ang magpopondo ng trip? Ano yung situation nila sa Philippines? At ano yung document na makakatulong mag-support sa application nila bilang temporary visitors? And of course, make sure na lahat ng information at documents na sinubmit ninyo ay truthful, accurate, at consistent sa application ninyo. Another tip mga kabayan, in-advise po kami na aming immigration lawyer na huwag muna kaming magbubook ng ticket or bumili ng travel insurance. So, ang ginawa namin, hinintay muna namin hanggat matanggap na nila yung mismong passport nila na may Canadian visitor visa. And after na nilang matanggap, saka lang namin binook yung flight nila at bumili ng travel insurance. Of course, iba-iba yung situation ng bawat applicant. So, kailangang i-consider niyo yung mga requirements or policy ng airline or travel provider at insurance company bago kayo bumili, especially kung non-refundable. And sa amin, talagang hinintay muna namin na ma-approve yung visa nila at matanggap yung passport nila na may visa as advice ng aming immigration lawyer. And nag-workout naman siya. Short break lamang po mga kabayan, muli po ay nanghihingi kami ng inyong suporta na tangkilikin ng aming online t-shirt store, ang printquest.redbubble.com. Mabibili niyo po sa ating online t-shirt store ang different designs with different styles and colors. Available po ito internationally, including US, Canada, and of course, Philippines. Ilalagay po natin ang QR code. Pwede nyo pong i-scan para makapag-order kayo directly sa printquest.redbubble.com. Balik na po tayo sa ating video. Ngayon naman po, gusto namin i-share yung actual application timeline namin. Nag-start po siya May 7, 2026. Nakatanggap po kami ng email from our immigration lawyer ng mga forms na kailangan naming i-fill out at pati yung checklist ng document na manggagaling sa visitors and sponsors. At the same time, nagsimula na rin kaming mag-work on the application. Isa-isa naming fini-fill out yung mga forms at kinocomplete namin yung mga supporting documents for each applicant. So habang ginagawa namin yung mga forms, chine-check din namin kung complete and consistent ang supporting documents. And then July 3, 2026, sinubmit na ng aming immigration lawyer yung aming application. And dahil nakumpleto na namin lahat nung forms at mga requirements. And fortunately, nakatanggap din kami ng confirmation ng aming application on the day we submitted our application. At this point, makikita nyo po sa screen yung application confirmation na natanggap ng isa sa aking parents. And nakalagay po dito yung date, July 3, at kino-confirm nila by July 4th, 2026. So, ganyan po yung marireceive nyo once na-confirm na yung application nyo. Tinakpan lang po natin yung mga important details or personal information. Then, after po, just in 2 days, on July 5, 2026, sa time po natin sa Canada or sa date natin sa Canada, naka-receive na po sila ng biometrics appointment confirmation. At nakikita niyo po sa screen yung email na na-receive ng kapatid ko for biometrics appointment. So, ganito rin po yung matatanggap nyo if ever meron na po kayong schedule for biometrics. And then, ito na nga po yung pinakamagandang balita na natanggap ko so far. Noong July 14, na-approve na po yung visitor visa applications nila. Sobrang masayang-masaya po kami nung natanggap na namin yung approval letter, yung nakikita nyo po sa screen. And ang laki ng tinik na nabunot sa amin kasi nagwo-worry talaga kami dahil ang dami naming pinasang documents and hindi siya ganun kadali. And also yung funds na inipon namin para ma-approve sila. And fortunately, ang saya-saya namin dahil ito na nga na-approve na. And after ng approval, kailangan na nilang dalhin yung passport nila sa VFS para sa visa stamping at ipapakita po natin yung instruction na na-receive nila regarding their passport submission. Makikita niyo po sa screen yung instruction on passport submission once na-receive niyo na yung passport request letter from IRCC. At meron po siyang iba't ibang options. Meron siyang in-person submission, mail-in submission, and ang pinili ng aking kapatid, ng aking family is yung in-person submission. At depende po kung kailan nyo pinapanood ang video na ito, pero as July 14, 2026, ito po yung pinaka-instruction nila. So after submission ng sister ko in person ng kanilang passport for visa stamping, nagbayad ang kapatid ko ng 135 pesos per person para makatanggap ng VFS SMS text notification service. So text lang yon pero may bayad. Ginawa niya yon para mas madaling ma-monitor yung status ng passport at kung kailan ready for pickup. Again, please check the current VFS fees because this can change. On July 16, nag-message na sa akin yung immigration lawyer namin at in-inform na kami na nakikita niya na yung updated status indicating that the visa had been stamped. And when we check the visa details, nakita namin na multiple entry yung visa and yung validity ng visa was until the expiration of the passport. And dito makikita nyo sa screen na yung expiration date ng kanilang visa is until 2028 for my parents and yung sa kapatid ko naman is 2030. So nakadepende kung gaano katagal yung expiration ng passport nyo. Mas matagal yung expiration, mas matagal yung Canadian visitor visa nyo. And then finally, on July 17, 2026, na-pick up na po ng sister ko yung passports nila. And yes, may Canadian visitor visa na sila. At makikita nyo po sa screen ang passport nila. So, yung sa parents ko and then sa sister ko. And from receiving the required forms and document checklist on May 7 hanggang sa passport pickup on July 17, yun yung naging journey namin. Yun po yung actual timeline. Overall, malaking pasasalamat talaga namin dahil na-approve ang visitor visa application nila at naging smooth ang process. Malaking bagay po talaga yung pagtutulungan ng immigration lawyer namin, ng family ko sa Philippines para ma-provide lahat ng documents at ng husband ko na nag-provide din ng maraming documents para sa application nila. Pero gusto ko lang pong ulitin, pasensya na po at paulit-ulit tayo, pero importante po na i-emphasize natin na every application is different. Yung timeline namin, financial documents, supporting documents, yung proof of funds, and circumstances may not be exactly the same as yours. So, sa halip na kopyahin po natin yung mga documents na isasubmit natin, make sure that your documents accurately reflect your own situation and that everything in your application, uulitin po natin, is truthful, consistent, and complete. And kung napag-decide po kayo na mag-a-apply kayo via DIY or do-it-yourself, take your time reading the official IRCC instructions. And kung mag-decide kayo na kumuha ng professional help, make sure you understand what services are included and choose a properly qualified immigration professional. So that's it for our part 2 of our Canada Visitor Visa application for 2026. Yan po yung naging journey namin. And I hope nakatulong ang actual experience namin, especially sa mga OFWs na gustong mag-invite ng parents, kapatid, or other loved ones dito sa Canada. If meron po kayong questions or if you are also applying for a Canada Visitor Visa, please comment down below and share your experience. Malay nyo, makatulong din ang comment ninyo sa ibang kababayan na currently preparing their application. And huwag nyo pong kalimutang mag-like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell para updated kayo sa next videos natin about our Canada immigration and OFW journey. Malaking inspirasyon po kayo sa pagpapatuloy ko na mag-advise at mag-provide ng aking personal experience. Sa inyo po nakasalalay yung pagpapatuloy ng ating YouTube channel at sana po ay mag-subscribe kayo. Thank you so much for watching mga kabayan and good luck sa inyong application. See you in the next video.